we're out here on a windy and somewhat rainy day, and we're going to take a walk around this 2005, 2006 built house. Just kind of show you guys what's going on. It's in the middle of some renovations right now, so let's just get started walking around. A lot of that moisture on the outside of the wall is coming from inside the wall here, so we're irrigating quite a bit. We brought the soil level up, so now that water that's in that soil is trying to come out through the concrete down there, and eventually it's going to cause problems. We've already got some step cracking here where this wall is starting to separate. Got some efflorescence or spalling on both sides all the way out to the edges from just moisture soaking into that wall and then soaking around the wall on both sides. You should be worried a little bit about settlement too. See all the watermarks down here, but worry about this thing tipping back. You can see the level of this starting to, I don't see any cracks or anything that indicate that it's moving. It just sure looks like it's really sloped back. You can see some of the cracking that's starting to happen in this area from some settlement. You can see this area is starting to drop down a little bit. This area is dropping down, so we're getting some cracking right in there. Got to correct that grading. Wouldn't be water in these big trees up there either. That's likely your issue. So you can kind of see what I'm talking about from up here a little bit better. We've got a lot of dirt in this little section, getting a lot of irrigation, so it's putting some hydrostatic pressure on that wall, making that wall kind of lean out that direction. So a little bit worried about that. More concerned about the roof today though. We're on the flat surface right now, cap sheet built up roofing, probably about 20 years old. A lot of this material is just crumbling away. There's not much of it left. So we've really got to make sure this area is sealed to prevent water leaks below. Got the roof above. The concrete tile roof is going to come down and drop the rainwater on this flat surface here. So we got to make sure all these openings, see how big that gap is right there. Basically stick a screwdriver right down in there. So that means water can very easily build up right here and get in these sections. So we've got a worn out roof today. More than one area I can tell that at. Lots of bird doo-doo, but we've got some slipping tiles in several areas, cracked tiles, many cracked tiles, a little bit of debris on the back roof. We probably trimmed this tree before we came out. That's usually what happens. You can see all these tiles are starting to slide too, right? So 4 or 5 tiles at the end of this ridge here are starting to move their way down. That's telling me the fasteners are not doing their job anymore, or something has shifted. You can see some more cracking along here. Some vents, more cracks, more cracks. This house was built in 2005, so we've got about 20 years on this roof. Now this section of roof I'm a little bit concerned about because there's quite a few cracks right in here, and I can actually see a little bit of a divot over this section, so there might have been some sheathing movement right here causing some of these cracks right in this section. So we've got more tiles sliding down right here, which means that the fasteners are starting to give way. Always have a few cracks around the valleys. A lot of the paint on the exterior of the home is original, so it's time to get some new paint on here all the way around from the stucco down to the foundation. More cracks on the concrete tile roof here as we walk around the front. This is all exposed to rain, sun, all that. And we've got some more cracking along here, a little bit more over there. So the stucco on flat, it's a comment I have. When we put stucco on flat, it's a really good, easy place for water to get into. So we really want to make sure that we seal up these gaps, which have probably been here for 20 years. Now I can usually predict that the screens are in the garage or something when they go to sell a house or move. They usually take the screens down, but we're looking at some migrating window seals here. There's a few windows in the house that have some fogginess to them. So some moisture in between the panes of glass. We've got another tile here that's slid down. You can see it's not fastened to anything. And on the front of the house, we've got another tree touching, so we don't want the wind to pick up and cause more damage than we already have. On the front of the house, there's not too much going on this little guy here. It's pretty clean, but we really want to get some gutters. Yeah, you can see that window down there. That's the seals are blown out on that. Pretty easy to see that. But this is the ideal place for gutters. You're going to put a gutter over there, gutter over here, gutter over here, and all this roof runoff you're going to catch and try to direct over here. But then you're going to have to clean this area up a little bit because we have turf blocking our swale. There should be an irrigation or a drainage swale going through here. Just a little divot so all of our water can run over here and then run down through there and out to the street again. So we get rid of the water off of our property and it doesn't build up underneath of our slab or in our backyards. So this is ideal for a gutter. Shoot, it looks like even on these top windows up here, right above the flat patio, we've got woodpecker holes. Mainly on this window right here. So we're up on the main roof right now, taking a look at some of these solar panels. 16, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26 panels. Got some more shifting concrete tiles here right in the valley. So you can see all these tiles are starting to just slip down. 20 years being on the roof, you're going to get a little bit of that. Definitely have some bird debris up here today. So that's your main level of roof down there. That's that section I was a little bit worried about. The sheathing, we'll see if we can get in the attic and take a look at it. But your mortar cap's pretty much shot. So this is just going to let water go right into your roof surface. Bottom right corner cracks all over the place. It's pretty common, but it's pretty excessive today too. We've got another crack there on the top side. That's going to be a problem. That's right where the flashing exits. So all the water is going to go right towards that crack. Some more cracks over there. We do have plumbing vents up here, which if I can't find the main plumbing clean out, I might have to bring my sewer cam up here and go down one of these vents. Several more cracks. This roof needs some attention. You can see a little bit of shifting down there. Some of those tiles are sticking up. A little bit goofy, but we have 3 furnaces and a gas water heater. So 1, 2, water heater, furnace 3. Some more shifting of the concrete tiles. It's super windy today, so I'm gonna be careful. Now these are tight valleys, so these are going to fill up full of your cracked tiles and debris, and then water's going to have a hard time going down. When it does go down, it's going to go right onto your flat roof surface there. That needs repair as well. I tell you something that's annoying is not having plumbing cleanouts on a house that you know there are plumbing cleanouts installed. So whoever put this little retaining wall here and built this up likely buried the plumbing cleanouts underneath this turf. And of course this stuff is all nailed down, so I can't pull this stuff up. I'm going to end up damaging it, and then I'm going to get blamed for damaging it. So I'm looking for possibly a plumbing clean out in here, but that would be buried by turf as well. Maybe it would be in here. Sometimes they would put it in the little garage up here, but the garage is locked, so I can't get access to that. The only other option I have is to hop up on a roof and do a roof vent, but the only roof vents are up on the second level. Well, we don't have any lights installed yet, but they made me a booby trap. Be very careful. Wanted to show you guys this shower head. You don't see this very often, so different down here. This adjusts your temperature left and right, but then these are just push button. So it'll go from the shower head there to the wand. Then you can go down to the tub with this button. Then that one turns the shower on. So you can have all three running at the same time and get no flow. But you can have the wand and the shower head. Same time, not a big issue. This tub spout puts out a lot of water. This is a deep soaking tub, so that's a good thing. Let's try the vent. See those hinges up at the top, right? There's a hinge up there. This flap is supposed to flap at the bottom, but we've got all this stucco sealing it in. This is from the primary bathroom. We know it's from the primary bathroom because it's right above where the glass window is. Check this out. That's your vent right there. That's your vent going out right out the wall right there. So we need to open that up, otherwise we have no ventilation in here. And this one is connected to the ventilation fan in your laundry room. That's your dryer vent, dryer duct with a little flap on it. Now this is supposed to be a flap, but nothing's gonna open up because of this stucco. That's unusual. This house has been here since 2006. Both the laundry vent and the primary vent both been sealed up this entire time. These Samsung refrigerators are basically any brand of refrigerator where the ice maker is up in the refrigerator and not the freezer. You're going to have this constant battle of trying to freeze ice in a refrigerator. And you know that's not possible. If you just put the water in here, it'll never freeze. But we expect ice to freeze in this little tiny insulated compartment. But what happens is ice builds up in that ice tray where we don't want it. And then you can hear this thing struggling to try and move. And the ice is built up all the way at the top there. It's probably hard to see. I don't know if I can focus in on that, but the ice is built up to where it's actually causing this thing to bend. That should be pretty flat. That shouldn't have that big push to it. So we've got a big ball of ice in there that hopefully somebody doesn't stick a hairdryer in here and ruin the whole thing. But that's what usually what happens is we try to melt that ice out of there and we end up damaging more stuff and having to replace the whole ice maker altogether. I know I'm being a little bit picky here, but so is the homeowner that paid a ton of money to install this thing. So this arrow goes straight up when it's all the way hot instead of all the way over here, and then this is all the way cold. You can see it kind of lines up to the cold, but it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Straight up and down is supposed to be hot. It's brand new. Let's just do it right. So we're at the front of the house. This is the south side of the property. We've got this walkway up into this little courtyard area where we have a little bit of a trip hazard starting to form here, where this guy is lifted up a little bit and the middle is a little bit lower. So both sides here got a little bit of a bump. So we worry about people walking through here tripping and falling. I guess we could install a mat right here so if anybody falls down it won't hurt. But I think the best way is to try and level this out or shave that concrete down so nobody trips. But we have this little courtyard on the side of the house where I'd love to see gutters installed around this courtyard and terminate over here on the side of the house and get everything out to the street this way. Even if we have to stick some type of gutter underground or a drain system underground to get it up to the street, I think that would be great. Roof is shot. The concrete tiles, several of them are very damaged. There's many in this area, many in that area right here, and the section right above the living room or dining room on the side. So our main water shutoff comes in from the street, usually on the same side of the house. So we've got a water meter box right out there by my car. Comes up here, and then we can turn off all the water to the house right here. So if you have any leaks, this is where you go first and just shut everything off. We've got a couple zones for irrigation. Even though we have turf, we have a lot of bushes around the property, so a lot of those are being irrigated. There's a couple valves under here. I'm looking at the condensate line, looking at the rust that's forming in some of those areas. It's telling me that those systems have seen better days. They've probably been serviced. They're original Goodman systems from the time the house was built. Christmas light plug-ins all around here with our soffit ventilation going up. Now you can see this window is fogged up, etched, whatever you want to call it. It's mainly cosmetic, but it's telling me that there's been some moisture, some issues with that window and heat, likely. Concrete in general doesn't look too bad. There are some trench drains. I don't know what the purpose of that trench drain is because we filled it in with all this block. Same with that one. That trench drain goes nowhere because we blocked the ends off it, so it goes nowhere. So you think about this stuff, just think about it all the way through. Where's water going to go? It's just going to build up in there and then go over the top of that. So these trench drains are kind of pointless at the moment. We're watering some plants here, and we're getting some overwatering, some ponding down in this section, likely from roof runoff, which again, gutters would be very helpful. Now we have a single car garage located at the southeast corner that is locked, and I don't have access to that today, so I'm not inspecting that. But this little covered area on the front of the house, it's really nice to greet guests, hang out with them if you don't want to bring them into the house. Got kick out flashing there in the corners, which is good. It's going to help direct water away from the stucco so it doesn't get into the stucco here. And our doorbell on these are mounted out here on the gate. It goes inside. I don't have any way of actually listening to it today because it's so far away. So this big tree on the front looks beautiful, right? We trimmed this thing up so it looks really nice. It's touching the house, so we got to keep it cut back. At this point in its life, it's going to keep touching the house because it's so big. And then you can see the retaining wall is cracked in several areas on the front here where it's starting to separate, starting to pull apart. I tried to use some caulking to seal that gap. It's not working right. You can see this corner down here is settled too. It's either settled or they purposely built it a little bit lower for water to travel off that side. But this is where our plumbing cleanouts are likely located at. I have no idea where they are because they've been buried under the turf or something like that, and it's too windy out today for me to hop up on the roof and use a plumbing vent for the sewer camera. So we're going to come back another day and do that. You can see the wind pushing that tree into the house. It's going to cause damage sooner than later. Front driveway, garage doors. Now this is the garage door I wasn't able to test today. It's locked. But this one I was able to test. It was operating just fine. But you can see this little dent down here. You can see it bows out in the middle. Still functioning just fine, but something has pushed this from the inside out, and it's been like that for a long time because you can see the staining around the door hasn't moved for quite a long time. Stucco hole up here. Likely something was mounted and got pulled off. Now on the window stucco parts where it's flat up there, we've got some stucco that is getting thin, so we don't want water to go down into those holes and cause some issues with those. Electrical system on the side of the house, we've got a couple solar panels up there on the top on this side, on the west side. So all of that ties into here, ties into your electrical panel, and this panel is loaded today, so there is no adding anything. You are full. So if you want to add anything, you're going to have to add a sub panel or something. We already have a 60 amp sub panel. It's not labeled, but I know this goes back to the pool because there's nothing else labeled pool in here. Smokies, arc fault protectors in here. We're going to test those, make sure those are operational, make sure they go off and then reset, which is good. And then we have our 3 ACs. They're all at 40 amps right now, so we'll check those. Those all look like the original breakers. It doesn't look like anybody's really messed with the electrical panel much besides dropping a screw somewhere down there. Wasn't me. Irrigation controller here. We're gonna set that up for manual, semi-auto, and let it go. And we've got our 12 volt for our cable and our TV, cable TV, water spigot right here. It's dripping out of the handle. You can see the water just coming out right there. And all the white stuff in this area is efflorescence or paint, likely because they're painting inside, splashing back up. We want to make sure that we seal in this concrete down here. If we don't seal that in, that's going to get worse and worse and worse until we finally lose some support on this stem wall and see some movement in the wall. So I want to see that cleaned up or sealed up a little bit better. There's nowhere for water to go once it gets in here, right? So there could have been a trench drain installed right there to help get water out of this area, but there was nothing. So that's going to be an area where water is trapped against your foundation. So you really have to be careful about how much water you put in here. Gates going to the back side of the house, to the pool, I should say, are not spring loaded. These are not spring tension gates. So this gate is just going to sit open if nobody's here. If it wasn't windy, it would probably stay open. So we're worried about that because we don't want kids from the neighborhood getting access to the pool and having an accident. We don't want that. So we put some spring-loaded hinges on here. Replace those so this door wants to close on its own. That's really all that we need there for safety. I don't think any of this is recyclable, dude. None of that. But this is your combustion air vent, your low one, and then you have a high one in the garage. That's because we have a water heater in the garage that needs to breathe. So we need to keep those open. And this trim around the garage door, they're always messed up a little bit. They need more TLC than the other doors because these are exposed. There's no overhang protecting this from any wind or water getting onto it. So we just need to keep this painted and sealed more often. And then of course we're looking at the dryer vent up here that is not opening because it's been stuccoed shut. Sunscreens, you can see some of the sun damage on the top of them there where it's turning brown. And then the primary vent here where it's not opening, not closing right. This window above us, you can see some of the etching in the window. See a few of those drip lines. So our condensate line is on this side of the house. We've got 3 air conditioners, and one of the air handlers is located up in the attic on this side. So if you see water dripping down there, which I don't really like because it's going to drip down, hit that stucco, and then splash off. But that's what we got. This is what's supposed to be dripping all summer. You won't have any issues if this is dripping. Once that stops dripping and that one starts dripping, you're going to have issues. You need to call an HVAC guy. You can see stucco's on the flat again. We've got holes. I'm looking at chicken wire going right down into there. So any water that lands anywhere around here, and you can tell this needs to be painted, it's really, really chalky. But we need to fill in those gaps first. Pool equipment, water heater was working good, or pool heater I should say, was working great. Runs off gas, being fed from the gas meter that's located up there. Your filter is a sand filter because we have a backwash hose and backwash valve. And then we have a main pump, which is variable speed, and then we have 2 separate pumps. One of them is going to run the waterfall, and one of them is going to run the jacuzzi. And then we have a separate one that runs just the blower itself. So we have quite a bit of stuff going on here. Pretty fancy pool setup. We do have a broken valve here, so I don't even want to open that because chances are I'll break that and then it'll stay open. The concrete pads look alright. Doesn't look like there's been too much damage to those. We do have good bonding back here, so our bond wire needs to be attached to all these motors. It is in series 1, 2, 3, and it goes back to the electrical system. This electrical wire back here, we need to replace this cap so we can close that cap and not have any issues with water getting in there. And you see this thing doesn't want to latch either. It just doesn't want to hold very well. But plumbing equipment, I'd like to see some labels written on here. It looks like this has been painted not that long ago. So just write what all this stuff is for. And this valve, some of these are electronic valves, so I don't want to touch those. And need some more labeling over here. But again, with top caps, this is a safety issue. You know, kids walk by this stuff and they want to run their hands up. They could just grab it on accident, swing it around, this could drop and fall on their heads. It's kind of a big deal. Doesn't seem like it, but you just need to secure these down. They shouldn't just be sitting up there. We do have a pool cover. I'm not able to test it today. It's locked out. Cover, uncover. Not working. Even if I did, it was going to take out all the owls sitting over there at the hot tub. And our big tree in the backyard that seems to be growing some roots under here and possibly pushing that fence up, causing some instability. And then we have a little bit of settlement back there where the pine trees are planted, or palm trees are planted. Fireplace, I did not get to test that today. The gas is off at the fireplace. I don't have the right key to open it. Outside gas fireplaces are typically out of the scope of a home inspection, but you need a special key, and that gas valve is off. And with nobody here telling me that it's okay to open it, I can't open it. That could cause a gas leak, gas problem. Same thing with the grill here. The gas was off. The back side of it. Our button is missing here for the oven, which is pretty cool. It's got a little oven. Doesn't look like it's been used ever, but it's pretty cool. So we want to make sure that these gazebo covers or patio covers are bolted down to the floor, to the ground. We don't want to see these things blowing away in the wind. And it is, so we're good. On the other side of the home, you got another step crack right there where you got that whole top of wall is very loose right here. So you can see this whole thing move. And on the northeast corner, you can see we've got some moisture here because we have weeds growing, so something's dripping. And it's this hose bib is dripping. You can see it's all wet in there and corroded. And then this is your backflow preventer for the water autofill on the pool, which the cap is broken. Usually have to just replace the whole thing. We do have a little doggy door, tiny doggy door. And some of the paint on the foundation is starting to peel away. We just want to make sure that that foundation is nice and protected. And then our swale is covered up, so we don't have anything directing water out of this way. So we have 3 AC units, Goodman, a 4-ton, a 3-ton, and a 2.5-ton. All 3 units here. There's kids in the background, I don't know what's going on. Insulation is missing off the condensing line here, and then we have openings going up into the house that should be sealed in. And this is our kitchen vent right there. They must have did some work out here for painting because they have this blocked off and we're missing a cover. Most of the renovations in the house have been taken care of, but we're still working on a few things. Got some flooring up here. We're missing our oven, our sink, and some of the stuff in this area. The dishwasher isn't properly hooked up because we don't have the sink hooked up. Microwave is still hooked up fine, vents to the exterior, but we're missing like backsplash back here. And a lot of the parts are just sitting here, just ready to be installed. So I'm not too worried about it, just needs to be done. I'll probably come back out here for re-inspection when they get a little bit closer to being finished or finished entirely. So that light above the sink right there is not turning on today. All the rest of them seem to be turning on, but that light is not turning on. Got some boxes up there, likely for surround sound speakers. or your main living area here, which is going to be very echoey. I can assure you of that. The green room, looks like we got a fresh coat of paint in here. I'm looking at the windows, looking at electrical outlets, making sure we don't have any fogged windows. I did have these windows open up, and this is the one that is pretty severely etched right there. So what do? You can replace the window. That's about all you can do on this one. Room below the stairs, we don't have a light in here today. Likely burnt out in the wall. So hopefully they didn't paint that sucker on, but gives you a nice little Harry Potter room to store some stuff in here. All of our smoke detectors are missing, so we're going to need to update all of these. Smoke detectors / carbon monoxide. Same thing in here, we're going to need a new smoke detector, but this is one of your thermostats. Your second thermostat is right around that corner. The third one's upstairs. So we do have a bathroom here that the lights are a little bit goofy because they're connected to the mirror, right? And it doesn't want to always turn on. Still trying to figure out how all these work. So you push it, flashes on, and then it flashes on again. And see, it just doesn't want to stay on. Just keeps flashing. There, now it stays on. And I don't know if you're supposed to be using one of these slider buttons, because I can slide it and it doesn't change the, you know, the light setting. You can change the brightness on the mirror itself, but you can't actually change it on here. So every time you slide it up and down, sometimes it'll reset it. See? So I don't think this is the right switch you want in here, or you need to get that evaluated a little bit better so it functions properly. We are missing some lights up here. This toilet is not fully installed yet. It's not even bolted to the floor, so I'm not going to mess with it. And then garage door. No door stops. They didn't put any in, so they put a bag of rocks there for now. Laundry room, pretty straightforward. We don't have any equipment in here. We do have a water softener that you can see some of the calcium buildup, mineral deposits. And then our hot and cold hookups for the washing machine. In the dryer hookups, we do have a gas hookup here, and then we have a straight flue vent right there. And we have a hookup for the gas. If you use gas, you're going to hook it up to this guy. If you use electric, you're going to hook it up to this. So we test both of those today, and they are fully operational. Vent in here is working good. Laminate countertops. Doesn't match the rest of the house, but that's okay. It's a laundry. Inside the garage, the two-car garage anyway. Our combustion air vents over there, the top one, and then our bottom one is blocked. Not a huge deal, but because nobody's using it. You can see a little bit of the damage on the door there. Those two little panels have got some bendiness to them. And then a lot of our window screens are in here, just taken off the house. Water heater, a few years old, 2019, so we got 6 years on that. It's a 40-gallon. A house this big, 3,400 square feet, 4 bathroom. I would like to see a 50-gallon in here. It's gonna do, but 50-gallon makes more sense. And they didn't put a pan on here. It'd be nice to have a pan that drops down to the main floor, and then it would be nice to have a bollard, something in here to stop a car from driving in and hitting that water heater and causing some major issues. If you hit it, you could possibly cause a water leak and a gas leak. That'd be a big problem. So our water softener back here in the corner seems to be working okay today. We do have some salt down in there. I don't really check it. We do have a GFCI outlet with a fridge plugged into it. So before I leave, I'm going to make sure that there's power to it, even though there's nothing in there. So the flue vent on this water heater, not really impressed by it. You can see they just kind of like wrapped it around and taped it shut. Now the tape is coming off, and it's not very sturdy. Do I think anything is leaking or causing a problem? Likely not, but these things need to be screwed in, not just taped in. This is not adequate installation of that. And then we've got a lot of corrosion here. You can see all the drain line or the drain spots, water staining. It's not wet right now, but sure could be at any point in time. I'm going to take that back. There is a little bit of dampness there. TPR valves positioned right. It is a horizontal run. I'd like to see it go down a little bit, but this is fine. Not a big deal. Now the garage door safety sensors were a little bit goofy on me today. Like, they didn't work when I put my foot in the middle of the door. Put it right there. But if I put it right there, it'll work. So for some reason, it's not working in the middle. It's not sensing. It might need to be cleaned or adjusted a little bit, but that's kind of a safety issue. It's one of the big safety issues we check for. And we want to make sure that this door closes on its own for safety reasons. There's a little bathroom there, laundry room, and then this will be the primary, where the ventilation for this is not working on the exterior. Sinks working just fine, hot on the left, cold on the right. Bathtub filled up and drained good, no issues there. Now I ran a lot of water back here and sprayed the back wall to make sure that nothing was leaking. Looks like water was in here for a while. I plugged this and then walk around with a thermal camera at the end of my inspection looking for leaks around the perimeter and around the back side of the wall here, making sure that we don't have any leaks. Pretty straightforward. High camera. There's more stuff for the bathroom mounted in, or just sitting in here in the bathroom. Now, these bidets I don't really test. I don't test all the functions. I would make a mess, so I just verify that it flushes, and we're good. A lot of the light switch covers are missing because we were painting. That's what we're worried about. We want to make sure those are all covered up so they don't cause any shock hazards. Primary bedroom, pretty straightforward, looks right out to the pool. Fan was working fine. I just have it all turned off now because I'm ready to boogie on out of here. New staircase installed, so we're going to check the handrails for any movement. Should be able to hold 300 pounds of pressure one way or another. Now these little bars are put in here just with like a little set screw, but that set screw is getting loose. It's never really tight, so you get a little bit of movement on some of these. See? That one, I think this one too, yeah. A little bit of tightening up on those, but treads were even, nice and smooth. I didn't see any lips on them. They're sealed nicely around the perimeter. Just want to check these going up. Same thing with this rail. Of course, I would like to see 2 rails just in case, you're carrying something in your other hand. 1 is adequate, 2 ideal. Then up here on the second floor, you're getting a look over the main living area. The lights in this hallway are not working. Not sure about the doorbell. Now you can see the floor in here has been redone. We've done some work on the flooring, installed new flooring, likely taken out carpet. This is the bedroom that I'm a little bit worried about in this corner. As you can see, this corner dips down. There's a pretty substantial dip right here, and it actually feels a little soft. So I'm a little bit concerned about the underlayment under this corner and the gaps you're going to get. See how big this gap is? That's a fairly big gap for this flooring. If you come back here, there's a pretty small gap. Pretty small gap, small gap, small gap. You come over here and big, 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 big. So this whole area is not level. It's settled down a little bit. So I'm a little bit concerned that they didn't make it flat enough, and then you're going to get gaps on your floor in this area, which just make it easier to get dirt and moisture underneath the floor right there. You can see the gap on the trim board too. Got a little gap on the right, a little gap on the left. Just not sitting very straight. This is another one of those windows that's been fogged out. You can tell just by looking through it. It's not just dirty. Here, let me clean the camera lens for you, just to make sure. See, that's a clean window. That's a fogged window. Clean, fogged. You can tell. I don't have to be a brainiac to figure that out. And this is the bathroom where they didn't have all the lights installed. And we have a little booby trap right there. Air handler for the third HVAC system up here on the second floor. There's only one up here. And this is called the polka dot bathroom. I can see why. Looks pretty cool. I want to see something to protect your wall from any damage from the shower door. Inevitably, sometimes somebody's going to hit that and it's going to cause some damage. So I did the same thing here, filled it up. We really need to make sure that we seal this grout in good. It feels pretty rough. So if we get this entirely dry and clean, we're going to put some sealant in here, and that'll help protect the grout from getting dirty, from building up water, from water going through it. Mainly the dirty parts, so we don't have as much soap scum or mildew to clean up. No issues with the toilets. Again, a bidet. I don't really get into the bidets. Same thing with these lights. For the mirrors, see they're all on these slider switches. Those are for those lights. That's for that light. You can dim that one. You see this middle one is for the mirror, but it won't do anything. It's either on or it's off. I could slide that down, but nothing happens. I can actually hear. I can hear the mirror getting mad because it doesn't like that. I don't think these switches are really meant to go with something like this. So you could adjust all this. Different colors. I believe that's anti-fog, I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure. I need some more experience with these lights anyway. But this doesn't seem to be working very good. Listen to that. That makes that mirror grumpy. So, I don't know. I'd consult with an electrician on that. Room over the back of the house. This would be over the primary bathroom or primary bedroom. We put new flooring in, but we didn't put any stops on the door, so we don't have any guides. We don't want somebody to push one of these doors in too far and have it fall on somebody. So just put those guides back in. This window back here was not quite sealing or latching properly. You can see that this hits right there. Hits on the inside of the window on the other side. I can't push it any farther that way to get it actually to go just a little bit farther. It shouldn't be there. It should be about a 1/4 inch past that. So I can't properly latch the bottom one. Can't latch the top one properly either. I mean, it's latched, but it's on the window. It's not in between the windows. So we'll latch it the best we can just for security reasons and leave it. And our attic hatch here. Is not insulated. It would be nice if it was insulated. Get another mirror going in the primary, likely. this window is probably just dirty. You know, there's a difference between dirt and etching or dirt and fog. Usually have to clean the window off just to verify it. So that's about it over here in this house. Not a whole lot of stuff going on. I'm mostly concerned about the roof and the stucco. The roof has got several cracked tiles in it that need to be replaced ASAP before it rains, before monsoon season hits. Stucco has several holes in it that need to be fixed. Those vent covers for the laundry in the primary bathroom, they need to be opened up. We're not venting in those rooms at all. We need to open that ventilation. Gutters. What a big deal gutters would make. If you just ran them all the way around here and around that side and got the discharge to go somewhere over there. So yeah, I'd rather see it go in your neighbor's yard than against your foundation, honestly. So that would be a major upgrade. You can see this window is fogged up. You probably can't see all the little dots in there. Maybe you can, it's hard to tell. But yeah, it looks like somebody sprayed Coke on this, which is actually, it's on the inside of the glass. There's no cleaning that out. Some of the window seals are starting to migrate just a little bit, a few areas. Windows could use some maintenance. They're not in bad condition, but like all things on our house, need a little maintenance to keep these things pushed in there to keep them sealed. Remember how I told you that these kind of look like Coke spots, kind of brown dots? Look at the inside of the window frame here. That looks like pure tar. All that brown stuff, it's like super sticky. This window over here has the same thing. Very, very sticky all the way up and down this window. So I don't know, is this the smoking room? Very well could have been the smoking room.